Next up, we're entering into day 10 of the trial of Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum out of Georgia. They're accused of abusing their two young foster daughters, ultimately resulting in the death of one of those children, 2-year-old Layla Marie Daniel. They face murder, aggravated assault and battery, and cruelty to children charges. Now look, the impact of this case has been felt by everyone here at our network, as well as our viewers. You know, in fact, we wanted to show you something. We learned that some of our court chatters, they actually paid respects to Layla. They left notes and flowers at her grave. And look, that's important to us, that we can shed some light on Layla's story for the world at large, because it is a tragic case, but it's an important case to cover nonetheless. So we appreciate our chatters doing that and letting us know. But we do want to get back to the legal case here. So the Rosenbaum defense team claims that Layla accidentally died from choking on a piece of chicken. That's what they say. But yesterday, we heard what could arguably be the most important testimony that we've heard so far, and that is of the pathologist who performed the autopsy on Layla. In her opinion, Layla wasn't choking, but was suffering from a seizure at the time of her death, a seizure that resulted from blunt force trauma to the abdomen. She said this could have been from a high-impact blow inflicted about an hour earlier. Now, as we wait to go live, and it can happen any second, let's start with the testimony from yesterday. Wow, was she a powerful witness. Okay, Nilima, the impact of her statement, her testimony on the defense's case, what do you make of it?
You know, Jesse, I think that any sympathy that the jury might have had for Jennifer Rosenbaum is completely gone now because of this expert. At first, we thought that there was, you know, the victim who was choking and Jennifer was trying to do her best to help the little 2-year-old girl, if the jury was buying that to begin with. And now you realize that no, this little girl was in fact having a seizure. Her body was shaking violently, and it was because of trauma to the victim.
Yeah, and look, she also said when she conducted the autopsy, she didn't find any chicken, she didn't find any food particles. Now, under cross-examination, the defense said, well, you didn't know that chicken was found at the crime scene and that there was it was never collected. Now, I'm also joined here by forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan. Joseph, this was really important testimony. I can't stress it enough. I currently think it might be the most important thing that we've heard so far. Your thoughts as to the idea of it being a seizure and not choking?
Yeah, I'd have to concur with what the doctor is saying, and a lot of this has to do with the ongoing trauma that the child was sustaining. Remember, she's got multiple impacts, and you know, these seizures can be triggered as a result of trauma. She's being allegedly being knocked about and this sort of thing, and again, there was nothing obstructing the airway, so that kind of pushes this obstruction of the airway, you know, scenario out the window at that point in time. The doctor is very much on point. I think that as we go through the day, we're going to hear more and more about this, these injuries this child sustained, and it's going to be quite graphic.
Well, if anybody had any doubt about the credibility of this witness, when Joseph Scott Morgan backs it up, you know you have to believe it. So we are going to go live actually right now. This is the first witness of the day in the Rosenbaum courtroom. We're going live in Georgia, and we're going to break down everything that you see. Let's go live. All right, well, the defense has begun their case after trying to get the case thrown out yesterday, saying basically they made motions that in light of all the evidence, this trial should not continue. The judge denied that. This is continuing. Now, we've been waiting to see what the defense is going to do. What are they going to do? So far, they've called a witness to say that he's never observed any abuse. Does that mean that no abuse has ever occurred? What do they need to do here?
So I think this is exactly what everyone was expecting from defense. They're going to start bringing forward witnesses that have been around the Rosenbaum family, and they can say, you know, I never witnessed any violence on the part of both Jennifer and Joseph. But Jesse, this definitely does not negate what was happening possibly behind closed doors. Killers can be charismatic. You never know how, you know, it's easy to shield how you're behaving when you have a guest in the house versus what's happening when no one's around.
That's really well said. And look, you know, the benefit for the defense is we cannot precisely determine what caused the injuries, when they were inflicted, who inflicted what. So that's a benefit for them. We're going to see what they do. And honestly, after the prosecution put such a strong case forward, the defense has a little bit of an uphill battle. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be live. Okay, Joseph, now if I'm understanding this correctly, the prosecutor is laboring on this point to show that Jennifer Rosenbaum should have known how to do proper CPR. And I'm curious your thoughts on this, because the defense has been saying, well, what happens if someone were to do CPR incorrectly? Couldn't it have caused these injuries sustained by Layla? Your thoughts?
Yeah, this goes to validation of of who and what she is, and what training she's had in the past. They talk about the initial training that she received at basic training in the Army. How does it marry up? You know, observing the airway, making sure the airway is clear, doing chest compressions and all these things. And I've been through a semblance of this training when I was in the Army, when dinosaurs roamed the earth many years ago. And there are very specific steps, as you can imagine, that they place you through in the Army where you have to learn these things. And this goes, and trust me, the defense or the prosecution will have the Army regs in front of them. She's already reviewed this. This is why she's being so probative here.
Yeah, no, look, she's making a point, and she's making a point for a reason. And now's a good time to take a break, because when we get back, this back and forth between the defense's witnesses and the state is really something to watch. Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this. Well, Eric Morano, who is a defense witness, is facing some very tough cross-examination by the state. This is somebody who knows the defendants pretty well, talked about never observing any abuse, and he was also in the military with Jennifer Rosenbaum. What he's being questioned about is what was their training regarding CPR? Now, what were they taught exactly? What the state seems to be suggesting is that you were taught the proper protocol on how to save someone's life, while the defense is saying, well, maybe when Jennifer tried to resuscitate Layla, she messed up and did a sloppy job. But is that accurate? Is that what she was taught? What's going on? What caused these injuries? Let's go back live. And I now think, okay, so that witness is done. So it gives us a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about what we just saw, which was something to see, I'll tell you that much. So let me ask you, Nilima, what did you make of that cross-examination? He was up there for a while.
Jesse, can I just tell you, I love Miss Daisha Young. I hope there are viewers watching that are in law school now, because she is a superstar attorney. She's doing a fantastic job turning this witness around. I think this is defense's witness, when he was on the stand, he was very confident, had his answers in order, everything was going smoothly. And all of a sudden, Miss Young gets a hold of the questioning, and he's completely falling apart, stumbling on his words, apologizing to Miss Young. So she's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're left with maybe this woman, the defendant, really did know how to do proper CPR. And the story of, well, you know, when Layla was choking, she put a knife down her throat to get the food out. It doesn't quite make sense. Let's go back live and new witnesses on the stand. Well, Joseph, you tell me. The defense is trying to portray the Rosenbaums in a positive light. They've been calling several witnesses so far. How are they doing?
Well, seems like this witness just flew the plane into the side of the mountain. That was not good. I was kind of struck. I'm still kind of recovering from it. Yeah, not well. I think that if this is the best that they have in order to mitigate anything else that might be floating through the minds of those on the jury, I don't think there's much hope here.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm glad we have you, Joseph, because a little bit later, when we have an opportunity, I want to break down more what the forensic pathologist had to say yesterday, because I think we're all still reeling from that testimony where she said that this wasn't an incident of choking. This was an incident of a seizure caused by blunt force trauma. I want to break that down with you after this next break. We're hopefully going to have an opportunity to go back live, but we have a lot to talk about in this case. A remarkable 2 days so far. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, so let's break down what we've seen so far. The defense has called about 3 witnesses. Are they helping the defense's case or hurting the defense's case? Because we just saw a witness who is about to say, well, the more that comes out saying that her mind has been changed about what she thinks of the Rosenbaums, and there was an objection. So are they helping the defense's case or hurting?
The first 2 not so good, Jesse, but finally I think the defense, someone threw them a bone. This witness seems to be bringing some sympathy for the defendants. You can see, genuine tears. It plays the role of this was a family that actually cared about the victim and the victim's older sister.
Couldn't this backfire, though, a little bit, in the sense that, if she's crying, it might say, I can't believe what my son and his wife did?
This is totally what I'm worried about, especially in light of what happened with the previous victim. It'll be interesting when she's crossed to see if, those tears change into something of regret.
Now, Joseph, real quick, we have about 20 seconds. Can the defense, do you think that they can find an expert to come on the stand and say these injuries are a result of CPR gone bad? We have about 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think that they could probably find an expert. I just don't know about the quality of that expert, because the injuries are so multiplicitous here. I think that it would be very, very difficult to mitigate what we've seen.
Well, that's what we're waiting to see, exactly what the defense will do. This is the beginning of their case. We are going to be covering it live here on Law and Crime, and we're waiting to go live in Amato as well. Big day here on the network. We'll be right back right after this.